don't you just say no, 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 no? Oh, no one will hear you. Okay. I'm sick because it's the holidays, of course. I'm Michelle. I'm also sick. And this is my so-called handmade life. I have a blog by the same name. And if you go back and look at old blog posts, you can embarrass me with some of the stuff I did. I'm my so-called handmade life on Instagram, and I'm Mamatronic on Ravelry, which is a fiber knitting crochet website. And you know that if you're looking at this. So this is sort of a knitting podcast, but I talk about whatever. And I was noticing as I wrote in my little book, I was writing down some of your comments. I've kind of been tracking your comments to me and my responses in this book, because whatever you talk about informs what we discuss the next week. And I realized that it's almost full, and I started this with my first episode, I believe, or second episode. So this is the 21st episode, and this is all our talk, you know, a little record of it. I don't have to do that. It's on YouTube, but I just kind of like it, because as I write down what you've said, I might jot down my thoughts, and that's something I talk about. So I was just kind of excited that this is all our conversation. And that there was so much, and that was my goal, to fill a little void in my life after losing my grandparents. So you guys have helped me do that, and I really appreciate it. That's something I'm thankful for. A few of you mentioned that you liked seeing that Mid-County Madness football footage. It's so bizarre the way that we are here. It's not historically accurate portrayal of Native Americans, obviously. It's bizarre, but you know, people get really into it. And I kind of get a kick out of watching everybody get into it. My son and I just laughed the whole time, watching people listening to these strange guttural screams, you know, that people had. Defense! You know, just cracks us up. And I'm going to show you footage of Ella's rally testing. It was horrible. She kept jumping up like I had a treat in my hand when I didn't, and she knew I didn't. She wouldn't sit straight beside me. She tied for fourth in honorable mention, but she passed with an 86, so that's not bad. There were worse dogs. One just bit his owner's hand the whole way through. Oh, he so reminds me of her. One was excellent and perfect, but even dogs that have never acted up, it's like they knew their owners were nervous, and they were just doing the weirdest things on this course. So I'm going to put that footage in here. Oh, but that dog. Heel. Sit. No. Heel. Sit. Sit. Ella, heel. Sit. Sit. Good. Ella, come. Over here.
Start that again.
Sit. Start again.
Oh, let's just sit in front.
Oh.
Now,
I'm sorry.
you will lose 10 points. I will redo that exercise in K3.
I was just not even paying attention.
I know. But
All right.
the judge might give you a hand. You might want to do that over again. You just lost 10 points.
Okay.
Okay, so take the ball. Forward.
Ella, come. Sit.
Good.
Over here. Back. Sit.
Much better. Okay, good.
Heel. Ella, we're going left. We're going left. Oh, left. Ella, left. Ella, left. We're going left. Slow it in. Slow it in. We're going left. Down.
is extremely difficult.
I really appreciated your continued encouragement of my getting through this time of grief. Just some more remarks that people made. Kathy, you had mentioned possibly my migraines could be associated with a magnesium deficiency. I have had that checked before, and I was taking a really good minerals supplement that included magnesium. It never affected the migraines. It's probably still good for me, but when it ran out, I did it for about a year and a half. I just quit. But it might be something to look into in the future. Ada had said that it's been 2 years since her father passed away, and yes, she's just now starting to feel right again. So it's not something I need to worry about rushing. And Rosamond had said that being fragile after losing so many people is natural, and she made me realize, I mean, my son going to college, it's not the same thing, but it is a sort of loss. My life's just so different now, and I hadn't really thought about that. So all those things on top of each other, I mean, I'm bound to be in a weird state of flux. She also mentioned, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, Brené Brown, a TED Talk, and I'm going to link to it because I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it. And it just talked about shame, the way we feel shame and vulnerability in our culture today, which sounds like an interesting thing to listen to, especially when you're going through a time of grief. And like I said, I didn't feel shame, but I did have these strange expectations of myself that I shouldn't have. Kathy had also said, a different Kathy Clark had said she lost both of her parents in the last few years. And after her mom passed away suddenly, she just kind of was spaced out, was in a fog. She said she had trouble remembering simple things, even her computer password. That really hit me, Kathy, because that is exactly how I've been feeling. I have mentioned several times to my husband that I'm worried about my memory, like dementia type worried. I mean, where did this thing go? And I will look for it all over the house, and then I find it in a place that is not typical. Why would I have ever put it there? Just not thinking at all, just zoned out. So that really encouraged me to hear that that's pretty common. Memory loss is not something I would ever expect to deal with at a time of grief, but you know, it's just like you're plucked up, and you're transplanted in a different life completely, where all these people are gone that used to be there. So, I mean, being disoriented is normal. But I like what Kathy said, that her best advice, like others, is just to be gentle with myself. And that was also Rosamond's advice, to be gentle with myself. But Kathy said that eventually, she couldn't say when, she just realized she was starting to feel not like her old self, but like a slightly new version of herself. And so she was healing. I really liked the way you said that, Kathy, that it wasn't a new version. It wasn't just the old you back to normal, that you're different. You've been changed. I don't know if I ever showed you guys my finished, I don't even know if you can see it. It's my finished The Bulky Easy one by Joji Locatelli. I finished it months and months ago, like in the spring. But, you know, it was hot, really hot through the summer. I did finally, at the end of the summer, get some photos of it, and I should have put it up on my blog already, but I've just been trying to work with Photoshop. What I want to do is so no-brainer and simple. Aperture was so much easier. Learning how to do simple things on Photoshop just isn't simple. I don't have a lot of time, and now that memory thing, oh my gosh, I may as well just write down every little step. Yeah, because I'll sit down, I'll spend an hour, and then the next day I don't remember one thing that I did. Tried to learn. So anyway, this is the Bulky Easy one. And I don't know if you can see, it's super oversized, which is exactly what I wanted, you know. So basically it's just coming to get you here. All this, black Patton's Classic wool, but you can see there's the little flecks. Let me see if it'll focus in on you. There you go. Yeah, little colorful flecks of, you know, pink, blue, orange, all of it, yellow. And that makes it fun, and it wasn't so dark, hard to work with. I really like wearing neutrals and darks, but knitting with them, just, you know, you get spoiled to all the color, you know. So this is it, and I maybe made a little modification somewhere. I don't even remember, but when I post it on my blog, it will have all the info. It's been super comfy to wear. I have some quilted Doc Martens I like to wear with it. It's good with leggings because it's long enough that I feel, you know, modest in leggings, and also just nice with jeans, you know, and you can see there's just a big, long, bulky fit. This is a pattern meant for bulky weight. That was my modification. I used worsted, and I told you all about it while I was doing it, but I don't know if I've ever shown it to you. And today was actually cool enough to wear it for real. So, yay for those days in Texas where you get to wear your knitwear. Anyway, I enjoy it. So, here's the deal. This episode is going to be very, very prop heavy because I want to talk to you. Several of you have said you're excited about the idea of a winging it sort of knit along. Here we go. There we go. Where we just kind of modify something or just start knitting and see where you go with it. You may have an idea in mind, like I know I need blank in my wardrobe. Or you may just want to start making a fabric and see if you like it and then turn it into a shawl or a scarf or something. That's really what it's about, and it's not about large projects or small, whatever. It's all good. And so I want to do it. I was going to do it anyway, but I want to do it with you guys since some of you are interested. And so our hashtag will be hashtag Wing It KAL. And I'm just kind of caught though. I've been thinking about, obviously, just kind of inventing some things for a while. But I also love so many things that are out, and I have too many things on my want to knit list. You know, I'll never get to them all, but I wanted to show you some of them. What's battling for my attention? I'd like to show you my test knit. I kind of abandoned Floozy and my Michelle colorway sock for this test knit because it is in a very pretty kind of a cranberry color. I'm using Wool of the Andes, and it's for Libby Johnson. I'm not going to show it to you because now, like, I'm into the pattern, but she has a little snippet of it on her Instagram, and I'm just using this cranberry color. So it's cranberry and a natural color wool. So to me, that's a very Christmas type colorway, and I showed you guys last week the very, very beginning of the ribbing. Well, I'm really pretty far through it now. So, like to the body, where the sleeves separate from the body. And I really like it. I really have loved working on it. I haven't had as much time as I would like, but I'm going to get it done by the deadline. And I could have flown through it if I had just had nothing to do but knit during the day. This has been a very busy, unusually busy time. I can't get into why, all of it, but maybe later. So that is happening, and that's kind of Christmas themed. I'm onto the foot of my Michelle socks, which they aren't in here, and I am barricaded in by stuff. Plus, if I open the door, then the big dog wants to come in and trip all over the tripod, and, you know. So I'm just going to let her stay where she is because she's happy. And take my word for it, I love those socks. They're looking good. So they're going to be done soon, just in a few days. So I'm thinking about Christmas colorways. I have the Naughty List by Stranded Dye Works, which I didn't have any stranded prior to this. But I liked this mint color. and I liked the, you know, again, the cranberry type color. I think this would be fun for possibly a lightly textured sock. Another thing I got at the same time was this mohair from her, and it's in her Midnight Sun colorway, which is a slight purpley gray. Really pretty halo on it. I didn't get this in her big birthday sale. I got it beforehand. Yeah, the birthday sale sells out fast, so I didn't want the stress of all that. I also couldn't believe I actually went to her shop and she had something in it that was Christmas themed, so I grabbed the naughty list and then this. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking of doing with this later. I was thinking Kobuk from Caitlin Hunter. I have a lot of gray and or purpley type yarns, and I figure I have some remnants somewhere, or maybe even some hand-dyed things that I could pair with this, and it would go with quite a bit of colors and maybe make a Kobuk. So anyway, I could do the naughty list Christmas socks, or I have this Gynx yarn, Jack and Sally. I've had it for a while, and that's a striping colorway. And it's sort of Christmas Nightmare Before Christmas themed. And then Laura the Fawn Knits, she did a green with hers as the heel and toe, and it was just so great. Ever since I saw that, I was like, one day I want to do that. And I do have this green. I don't remember the colorway name, but this is from, what's the neatest little shop? Skeins in the Stacks. That's what it is. Skeins in the Stacks. So I don't remember the name of this. It might be Peter Pan, maybe. It's a really pretty tonal green, and I just think these will look great together. I like the pairing. There's hardly any of that green in here, just slightly, I think, when the color changes from the gray to the orange maybe, but really nice. So that's a possible kind of Christmas themed sock. And the other is a little more obvious. I told you I had a Gynx hoard in the last few years, and I'm glad I do because she's not dying now. And I love her yarn. She's my first indie dyer to buy from. So there's Gingerbread House, and she had the coordinating mini skein for heels and toes. Also self-striping, and you've seen this colorway. This is probably what I will do for Christmas. But there's also Sweater Weather, which it's a self-striping colorway she did quite a while back. And it's very fall, you can see. So it's kind of a, I don't know, I'll just last minute eeny, meeny, miny, mo pick them out, but I do want to do some Christmas socks, hopefully before Christmas. But if not, just something to work on that's Christmas themed. Some of the other things I was looking at doing, and I may just put regular pictures up, but Shannon Cook came out with her, I don't know how you say it, Tamatique hat. It's really neat, bulky, and it's got a slight halo. There's some mohair there, or alpaca. I would not do that. I don't have anything like that. But I have some quarry. This was an Odd Lots purchase from Firefly Fibers. I like to get their sale stuff. Well, I like all their stuff, but they do a lot of Odd Lots, and you'll find a lot of Blue Sky, Blue Sky Fibers and Brooklyn Tweed Odd Lots, and so that's what this was, and it was really a good deal. And this is, this colorway is Serpentine. It's a pretty dark, green. I was thinking of doing Shannon's hat in this. Another wishful thinking thing I'd like to do is the Wiener socks by Andrea Mowry. And that is in this new lane. Where is it? I told you guys there was a sweater I really wanted to do from this issue. And let me show you the socks first. Here we go. So I made an order, also Firefly fibers of Tuku wool a while back, and I've heard about this. It's really supposed to be great, hardy sock yarn, and it's Finnish wool. It's 20% polyamide. Anyway, I've been hearing a lot about the yarn, so I thought for a sock project it would be worth getting some and trying it. The other project from this issue that I would really like to do, and I would like to do it soon, even if it's a while, I'm working on my own kind of design of some sort for our KAL, is the Poet sweater, and you've probably seen it. It's a Sari Nordland pattern, and it's just a really pretty cabled but sort of geometric pattern. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it right here. And I was thinking this is actually a little similar to the gray of the sample. I got, this would be my first time to knit a sweater in Brooklyn tweed. I've only used it maybe once before, and I really enjoyed it for a cardigan. I mean, sorry, a shawl. So this is the postcard colorway, which you have seen, everyone's seen it. It's sort of a pink gray kind of thing. And it's a really delicate color for a very woolly wool. I would like to try the sweater in that. I'm really excited about it. So that's the loft I would be using. And I would do a 3/4 sleeve like it shows here. I would do that kind of sleeve. And maybe it would go pretty quickly. We'll see. That's something I absolutely do want to do. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to these things. It's kind of an impossible list I've got going here. I'm just showing you all the distractions before I show you the things I'm thinking about doing, just kind of from my own head. Goblin Queen is a shawl by Jennifer Dassow, and let me show it to you. You've probably seen this one. Really neat texture and color play here. I really like that. So what I was thinking of doing, every once in a while I go to Hill Country Weavers when I'm visiting my daughter, and I went, you're just gonna have to excuse me, I have a mess of stuff down here to show you guys. A lot of it's old stuff, like older, and I had to go digging for it because I've saved it for a while. And I'm tearing the room up, you know. This is the hardest thing about podcasting, is tearing stuff up when you want to show books or patterns and yarn, and then you have to put it all back. Chasing Rabbits Fiber Co. She has her yarn at Hill Country Weavers. They vend for her, and I got these two colors. One is something about October. Hearth. This one's Hearth. And this one is October's. So just look at these colors together. How nice. Really beautiful. So I have two of Hearth and one of October's, and I would like to do that shawl with this. That's where I think I will use these. And then let's see, I think I have a couple of other things. I might have shown you. I want to do Birds of a Feather with more of my Gynx yarn hoard. I have Vampire, her colorway. Plus I have Color Pearls Espresso bean colorway in mohair, silk mohair. So it is a very, it's purple, but it's very dark. This would be a very dark birds of a feather, which I really like the idea of. Most of them that I've seen have been very airy and light and delicate colors, which they're beautiful, but I just thought this would be interesting. I won't even pull up birds of a feather. You know what it looks like. It's kind of an alternate, you alternate between the fingering and the mohair. I do want to make, a lot of people are doing the blame it on Dunder knit along, and that's kind of about just treating yourself, you know, quit thinking about it and just do it. And several people are doing the no frill sweater, which again, it's such a popular sweater by Petite Knit. Let me pick up a photo of the whole thing. Slightly dolman sleeved. And what you do is you hold yarns together for this. So I believe it's a fingering and maybe a mohair, a silk mohair. So what I wanted to do, and I got this a while back, but I was just hanging on to it for I don't know when. It's gonna be loud. I got some skeins of 6 and 7 fiber in her puffed sleeves colorway, and that's one of her Anne of Green Gables colors. And you remember how Anne wanted a dress with puffed sleeves. And so I thought that was a really a neat, and of course it's got the browns, which I just love browns. I just love them. And it's got a little lavender, a little purple, I mean, in here. But I thought it would pair well with this Capistrano Fiber Arts Studio silk mohair. And so that this will tone down the brown just a bit and bring out the pinks in it. But I just thought these would look nice together. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. To me, that would be a great TV knit because it looks like it's just a lot of stockinette. However, if it looks like it's going to take some focus, it's not for me right now because I don't want to pick mohair lace back at all. Let's see. That's pretty much everything that that's been kind of vying for my attention. But what I have is a lot of ideas for what I would like to just make up. For a while, and what I find is that there's something I want to make, maybe an older pattern that I've wanted to make for a while, and I just kind of simmer on it, think about it, and then I'm thinking, well, why don't I just make something up similar or modify that pattern? One I've thought of, this is not older, this is actually very, very recent. It's in a Knit Picks pattern book. Let me see what it's called. I don't have that pattern. Oh yeah, I do have it. I got it for this pattern. I think I will probably just do it as is, but I like the idea of it a lot. I've been thinking about, you know, texture, geometric texture, and this is called Game Theory. I really love that texture there. It's really nice. Let's see if there's another photo. Well, it would show too much of the pattern if I show you. That's like a worsted weight, I believe, sweater. Maybe it's sport. Let's see. Yeah, it's a sport weight sweater. That's just something I have maybe enough sport weight. I don't know. For it to be oversized, I probably don't have anything solid, or I just don't have anything in that amount of yardage, but possibly. Anyway, I just think that it's really inspiring. It's kind of, it's not exactly what I had in mind, but it it just encourages me, you know, it gets my mind thinking. Another thing that I was looking at doing a while back is the Super Soul cardigan by Mary Jane Mucklestone. And I may do it, but I may just do a Purl sweater of my own design. This is her pattern. Don't know if you can see this. I will try and get some photos in that show it. It is just a great cardigan, like she wears it belted here. It's open front, it's oversized, a lot of texture, it looks like maybe moss stitch, and then Fair Isle bands, stripes of color. This is Hilo, and it's before they moved their, I don't know, their factory, their mill, whatever, to China. This is still Norwegian wool, which I've heard makes a difference in the quality. I have a few different lots, because I got odd lots on Ravelry from someone, or else it was on eBay. But basically what I would do, and I have enough to make a pretty large cardigan or oversized Fair Isle sweater of some sort, again with the cranberry color and a gray. So this is I believe it's a sport weight yarn, and this I got specifically to mess around and try something. Either I would modify, although Mary Jane Mucklestone has so many great patterns and I've never actually knit one, part of me just wants to stay true to her, and this is my dilemma. I really like different designers. I like seeing how they do it from start to finish, just because it's like listening to someone tell a story. You like to hear it in their voice, in their own words. So I vacillate from wanting to appreciate their artistry to feeling the pull to be a little creative myself, just because, like I said last week, being creative is very therapeutic for me, and I've realized that it's something I just need to do, and beyond the repetitive knitting from a pattern. It's not a big deal. It's not the only. This is not the only area I want to be more creative in either. There's other areas, but this is just one that's very appropriate for talking about on this podcast. Hang on one sec. That's good. I got a Republic of Tea catalog and sample in the mail, and that's the sample. It's like Sip and Be Merry. Very good. Okay. So I have enough Hilo to do something special with, and it's supposed to wear really, really well. Now, right now, these wools from, say, Norway are the rage, right? Like the tuku wool. And this feels very, very durable. And the Hilo feels very durable. But let's see. If I were to compare the Hilo to the Knit Picks, okay, yes, I would say that the Hilo, this is my Knit Picks from the current test knit, this is the Hilo from Dale. It does feel a bit more hardy than the Knit Picks, like it would split less and it would pill a little less. It's also got a little bit more of actually a little more of a halo to it, but it does have more of a woolly wool feel. But will I ever notice the difference living in Texas? Probably not. I probably will never know the difference between, I'll feel the difference in my hands when I'm working, but I doubt that I will notice it in how long it wears, unless some time can pass and I can wear sweaters like this. This is Patton's for years and years and years. Then I'll be able to see how it wears. But when I started making sweaters, I've changed in sizing, and there's just some I don't ever wear anymore. So they never got the wear to see how durable they were. Something else I've been wanting to do is knit a plaid sweater of some sort. One that came out that excited me because I had been thinking I really want to do something plaid was Petite Knit Scotty sweater. And this has got that similar feel to the no frill sweater. Whatever, I don't even know what yarn she's using. If she's holding a silk mohair with the main yarn, or if it's just a very soft, lush yarn. But the Scotty sweater, it came out and I was like, oh man, I love that. I want to get that pattern. Well, there was no pattern for it. And I thought, well, I could just do it. I shouldn't just do something similar. Inspired by it. The English pattern is out now, just if you're wondering. But, and I don't want to do what she did here. I'm not really interested in, like I said, I might take a pattern, an existing pattern, and modify it. But there's a part of me that wants to really fly solo. So if I do that, another one that I just looked in my queue at things I once was interested in, this Noragon pattern is number 24 pullover. Really nice. And there's a little bit, which is what I was thinking of, a textural kind of plaid. I don't remember this being that way, but there is some texture to it. So anyway, we'll see. But for those, for this plaid sweater that I'm looking at making, I will probably use some Briggs & Little that is on sale. That's also a pretty hardy Canadian yarn, and I've never actually used it. It's considered just sort of an everyday yarn, I think, to Canadians, and their colors are, they've actually got some great colors, you know. I would say comparable to things like Brooklyn Tweed, you know. So I'm excited to try it. And I got enough of it that I could make something really oversized or not so oversized. And I think that was all that I was going to show you. That's kind of a inspirational to me right now. I know whatever I do, texture is going to be in it. I also have some of these odd lots of Shelter in the Artifact colorway, again with the green tweed. I might just start doing some sort of textural shawl or wrap or scarf. Actually, I'm thinking more a long wrap or a scarf is maybe more practical for me. So I might just do that. I don't know, but I'm enjoying thinking about it, and listening to what you guys had to say about doing this Wing It KAL excited me, because I'm glad that some of you are wanting to jump on board. I think it will encourage me to just go ahead and get some of these thoughts out that I have. So Pammy is all for it since it starts after the beginning of the new year. Right, because like, oh, I could never do that right now. Oh, through the holidays and with a test knit. Sarah was saying that she actually got The Opinionated Knitter by Elizabeth Zimmerman. Let me show you that right here. It is a really good book of, it's a collection of Elizabeth's newsletters that she used to type out by hand and send to people. And you can see it's really informal, and you know, I don't want to show you. This is so classic though. I mean, I just showed you a quick glance. She's got little diagrams that she drew by hand. I love this. I love the idea of the collection of newsletters and the way that she did it. Anyway, she's got some great ideas in here, sort of like sweater recipes. And Sarah was thinking of using one of these pullover recipes to make a pullover, but she would turn it into a cardigan. And I'm excited to see which one you do, Sarah. Oh, there's some great pictures. Let me see. I like the idea of a saddle shoulder sweater. I've always wanted to make one. Kind of like this that this man is wearing. I don't know if that shows. You can see right at his shoulder. I've never knit one, and I really want to do it. That's something definitely on my want to do list. In fact, so Sarah recommends this. I recommend this book. I have it, but I haven't read all of it. I have read Knitting Without Tears a few times, and she has a little recipe for saddle shoulders, which I looked at, I made some notes, and I wanted to get on it. quickly after doing a raglan. And in fact, I think the next episode I do, I'm going to start wearing some of the things that I modified or made up in the past to show you guys. But today I was already wearing this and I thought I want them to see my really comfy Hohi. So there's this recipe in her book. I don't know if my camera focused, but there's too much writing here. I don't want to, be disrespectful of her copyright. This is not an expensive book. And, Knit Picks will have these 40% off book sales. It's like every other month. You should jump on getting anything by Elizabeth Zimmerman, because if you want to feel empowered that you can make your family's clothing, you can just start out, just take it and go. She is great at encouraging, and she is very humorous. So I'm excited that Sarah's doing that. Ada said this would be her very first knit along to be a part of, but she wants to do it. And Ada is very inspired by her own mother, who was a knitter. She knit all the time, but never with a pattern. And so a while back, Ada tried to make a colorwork vest all on her own, and it was very enlightening, really grew from it. So she made a second this summer and wants to do, I think, a third now, and it would be a vest for this knit along, which I'm excited to see. The plaid pullover I'm thinking of, Ada, I was thinking possibly a vest too, also depending on how much yarn I have. I can't decide, but I was thinking maybe it could be either, and I'll just get started and see what happens. I can't wait to see what you do. Ada lives in Athens, and it's very mild in the winter there, which it also is here. And that's exactly why I was thinking, a vest I could wear a lot. And if I had cotton wool, I could wear it even longer. I don't have the cotton wool for that, but I can't wait to see yours. Ada had said that she's been designing since elementary school, and actually is right now working on a pattern that she's modifying, plus one that she's doing all on her own. So knit along or not, she's always doing that. So Ada, I hope that you'll chime in with what you're working on, and maybe use the hashtag Wing It KAL if you're on, you are on Instagram, and we can see what you're doing, because the point is just to inspire one another. Jen had said that she has the perfect yarn for a shawl. It would be her perfect winter shawl, but she hasn't found the right pattern yet. So this might be your excuse, Jen, to try something on your own. And I have a feeling that even if it's something I've never done and I make it very simple, I might really enjoy it, because if I look back, a lot of my favorite knits were not super complicated. And they weren't even super showy, but they're very comfortable. And I remember every stitch. And I really enjoyed the feeling when I was working on it. So I hope that it will be like that for you. Frauke loves the idea of a knit along like this that encourages us to be brave in modifying things. And she said I had her with the phrase, turn it into a V-neck. So, all right, Frauke, I'm just decided to see where you go with this. Sarah Jane also had that feeling of the Wing It KAL when she was working on her rug sweater. When we did the June and July knit along, in rug, I imagine it would have that feeling, because the plum that I was working on, I didn't know what was going to be next. And it had a sampler feel to it, like she had all kinds of stuff going on. Just one thing after one little section of cool this or that, and the next section was something slightly different. Junko is really great about this. There's this improvisational feel to it. So Sarah had that feeling when she was working on her rug, and has actually started her own pattern, her own design of a cardigan. But she only works on it here and there when she feels like it, because it is challenging. It's challenging. And actually, I like what she said, that it opens up the door to some insecurity. Sure, when you try something new, just look how Rally went for me. I would think, am I ruining this yarn? That's why I wanted to use Briggs & Little, because it's a pretty hardy yarn. I'm not going to destroy it if I have to rip back, and it was fairly inexpensive. And I feel like I don't want to ruin. It's like assuming I'm going to ruin yarn I've been knitting for like 15 years or more. I'm not going to destroy things. Not usually. Anyway, she said that creativity, she kind of was talking about the whole grief thing and how creativity is great for getting through that. And you find new things about yourself, or things that you forgot, you know, and it's nice to see again in yourself. I like the idea. That's probably why creative pursuits are a good escape for me, and they're very therapeutic. Not even running away from problems or things, but just it's therapeutic to do something and try something new. I mean, it's also great to go with an old standby, a sock that you know you can finish from start to finish, no mistakes, you got it. But I like the therapeutic nature of creating. So I like what she said, that you discover new things about yourself. She also, this is an aside, when talking about grief, that she had tried to rush it in the past, and she's just kind of given up because it's always there with you. But she said that grief gives. A time of grief gives. It doesn't just take. And she's learned to accept what that gives to her. I like the idea of seeing grief as a time that you actually gain from. I mean, you may not feel the gain is the equivalent of or worth the loss. Of course, who would with a person, a human being? But just the idea that there is something to be gained in all of this. It's not completely loss. I like that. I don't know where I'll go with that thought, but I'm keeping it in my mind, Sarah Jane. You know, Kathy, I told you this about Kathy. Her saying that after a time of grief, she kind of found herself again, came back to herself, but it was like a different version of herself, slightly changed. That's what this creativity, trying something new, it on a very small scale compared to grief, it opens the door to insecurity, like Sarah Jane said, but you also discover things about yourself. I'm thinking grief might be similar. Anything we go through, good or bad, it opens the door to fears and insecurities because it's new. But there is something to be gained from it. And I think that it's just knitting. So we're all going to gain something from doing it. So everyone watching, I hope that you will join us. Let me show you some books that I have as just inspiration for things you might want to check out at your library, or you may have and have forgotten about. A while back I did a 40% off sale at Knit Picks, and I got a few of these, and then some I've had for a long time. There's the Elizabeth Zimmerman books. Let me just get my stack of books. Big stack of books. First of all, I got a couple of these at my library. They were selling them for like $1. So it's Vogue Stitch Dictionary. Super full of, this one's full of color work. There's another that has different kinds of stitches. It was like $1. You can't beat that. And you might find on eBay lots of things like that. Hey, where'd you go? The store? Okay. Yikes. Custom Knits by Wendy Bernard. I got this a long time ago, and I need to show you guys what I did with it. There was a vest in here that I may have shown you in photos. It was a man's tuxedo vest. I did something similar. I don't think it was quite as low cut. I combined it with the Stephanie Jappel sweater vest, and so it was a total mix, and I love it. I love it. It's still, oh, this is what I did. Excuse me. She has everything in this custom knits, she has a way to customize it and advice on it. So where this vest looks like this here, she has a non-cardigan version. That is what I used. But I used Stephanie Chappelle's, I think it was a broken rib stitch. So it looked like this. It was so cute. It's still cute. I think it would be a classic forever because it's just a simple vest. And it's very feminine, actually. Anyway, she has lots of ideas about how to change the fit of things. And, like, I got ideas when I showed you, I think. It looks like kind of like the Mrs. Darcy cardigan. I couldn't get the pattern at the time. It wasn't available. And so I just looked at it and I modified it. When I wanted to do the sleeves, doing the sleeve cap with an afterthought sleeve, I got the instructions from this book. So you may have this in your library and kind of forgotten about it because it's an older book. Isn't this Icelandic lace-up sweater? Isn't that cool? Because we all think of wearing a lopey Icelandic sweater when we're surfing, right? This is new. I haven't gotten to look at it a ton. I just got it in that big book haul a while back. But it's Andrew Rangel's alternate stitch dictionary, and she's got non-traditional stitch ideas. A lot of them make me think of tiles, little mosaic tile patterns, things like that. Just really, you can see on the cover the types of designs. So this would be great. If you're designing your own thing from beginning to end, these are great ideas, and she's got lots of advice on winging it yourself. But what if you just want one of these patterns, but you like the fit of something you already have a pattern for? Then substitute this color work. So this is a nice idea. It's a good, so is Up, Down, All Around, also by Wendy Bernard. This has lots of, I can't really, every page has a, here we go, I can do this and show you. Lots of little swatches, and she's got lots of textural stitches in here. Really neat. This is very texture and cable heavy, whereas Andrew Rangel's is very color work heavy. Just some neat ideas. There are lots of, like, Japanese Stitch Bible. There's several Japanese cable dictionaries. These are the best cables. Look at this. Just awesome, awesome ideas. I haven't dug into it. I haven't used any of them. This is something that, you know, you can look at and say, nice, but just showing you the way it grows. But you really can't appreciate this until you actually start knitting it and using it. So I'm very excited to do it. There's a few patterns in here also, or pattern ideas. And then this is another one, Nora Gann's Cable Source Book. And let me just say, there's a sweater in here I've wanted to make for years. Let me see if I can find it. That's so great. See, she gives you these cable ideas and charts, and then she's got these great patterns that incorporate some of them. That's just awesome. There's a cardigan in here that I love, and it's for bulky yarn, so imagine how fast that would knit up. But I abandoned the idea because something else came out that I liked, and I think that if I just slow down and start forcing myself to make things I want, even if that means making it up, I would be happier. Good grief. Here we go. Yeah, it's, I don't remember what it's called. The Chunky Cardigan. That was pretty no-brainer. Isn't that beautiful? So she's got a lot of great, and you know, a lot of things we find so ornate and difficult. It's just a basic Elizabeth Zimmerman sweater recipe with extra stitches added in, you know, for cabling, because that takes up a lot of stitches. And it's just various cable patterns, you know, one down the sleeve, two in front, maybe you alternate one here, another here, and another here, same on the back, something like that. I mean, it's a little like putting together a puzzle. We can totally do this, guys. And the last one I wanted to show you, I talked about it a while back. I still haven't done these patterns, but I've heard that Coco Knits has a really interesting, Julie Weisenberger has a great fit for her shoulders that's different. And if you have this or you've done it before, it may be something you want to try on a different sweater. So a modification you could make. So these are just some ideas. But I'm excited to try some new things. I mean, it's just knitting. So what is the worst that could happen? So basically, I think I showed you like my whole library. And I have just yarn everywhere. So I wondered what you guys thought about having a Ravelry group that we kind of focus on at a knit along, but I don't make any promises about how regular I can speak in there. I just feel like this is even silly to say because I don't have this huge following. It wouldn't be that hard, but I respect your time and your comments, and I really don't want to let somebody slip away, and like I don't care, because I do, and I like to answer. But would you guys like to have Ravelry and Instagram as places to show and log your projects so that your process can be recorded and you can see from each other's process, and also do searches in the discussion to find things you remember, and it's there forever. They're just great for being a resource to go back to. You can go back years later. Oh, I learned a trick about such and such. You go back into this person's forum, you find the discussion thread, and then you do a search on the term, and it pulls up every post that talked about it, and you can find something that you learned but forgot. It's really great to have discussion in Ravelry groups for that reason when you're doing something that you want to reference again. Tell me what you think, because I am considering doing a Ravelry group with a thread for this knit along. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm entering a whole new world of responsibility if I do that. But I love the idea of talking to you guys. So, and doing it there too, and Instagram for the knit along. So just let me know what you think about a Ravelry group for the knit along or just at all. I've asked this in the past. Everyone said YouTube is easier, and it is for comments. But when you get into specific stuff about patterns and pictures, Ravelry is the best. Instagram's good. Ravelry is the best, especially if you want to reference something someone else said. So just let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you again next time. I'm going to show you some things I've modified, and I'm sure you have things like that too, which you could also be showing in a Ravelry group. So I don't know. The wheels are turning. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you all hopefully next week. Bye.
Wait.